Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of the Bush League Huddle Fantasy Football Podcast. How we doing, everybody? My name is Fab. I'm here with Nacc and Raj, as always. We're here to give you a nice little deep dive into what happened this weekend in the divisional matchups and preview some wonderful, wonderful championship weekend coming up right now. We're very excited to have you on board with us. Before we get started, please follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter for all of your fantasy football little nuggets of information that you're looking for right now. We're watching football. We're following it. Like, it doesn't matter the fantasy season is over. We're football fans first. Football fans first. Yeah. So that was
FFF.
F
Better, best.
Better, but yeah,
Good better rest.
Yeah,
Good
better rest. It's okay. Hey, listen, they were playing with house money, in my opinion. No one expected them to go as far as they did. So that's really exciting if you're Bears fan right now that they lost. But we're going to get into that later on in the episode. Roger, we got two other segments to look at before we get into segment 3. Okay. We're going to deep dive into the coaching changes that have happened since the last time we spoke, since last week. Some very exciting coaching changes. One in particular that I'll be talking quite a bit about, but still, you can figure that one out already. We're going to go into some way too early running back rankings, just like we did with quarterbacks last week. That was exciting. And obviously, we're going to recap what happened with the division games last week. You know, some fans are very upset and sad, and other ones are much more happy and exciting. So, also preview the championship weekend too, which is arguably the best week in football. Period. People are going to argue that that's better than the Super Bowl. People are going to argue that that's better than. I'm saying quality.
I don't care about the AFC this year.
Quality. The best round. The best round just happened. Divisional round is always the best.
Yeah. I agree. Actually, wild card was pretty good this year.
Yeah, wild card was very good. I agree.
Anyways, let's pump the brakes on that because we got a few other things to talk about first. So before we jump into this, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much as always for listening and tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. We're gonna get the ball rolling right now. We're gonna jump into the first segment. We got a wonderful coaching update and some great things that have happened in the last few days. So just quickly, we're gonna have a beautiful graphic. Roger, little shout out to Roger with the Vice graphics over here. Huh? We got a nice head coaching hire. He's got Kevin Stefanski that got hired for the Atlanta Falcons. Jeff Hafley was hired by the Miami Dolphins. John Harbaugh finally signed his 5-year contract.
Who's got it better than us?
Giants. Nobody, baby. Nobody.
I was expecting a better nobody than that, but
nobody.
My goodness. You think someone would be excited to
you sound like Jack Harbaugh. You sound like, because I got to keep it maintained for the pod. Not everyone's a Giants fan, and I can't, or else we're all going to turn into Nacc and just talk about our favorite teams.
Here we
go.
Joe Homer.
Let us be excited, Nacc.
Yeah, seriously.
You're allowed. It's a good hire.
This
is our hire. I definitely agree with that.
We got Robert Saleh also got hired by the Titans. So out of these 4, I mean, which ones are we most excited about? That makes the most sense. Because I'm loving the John Harbaugh thing. Robert Saleh hired by the Titans. Am I the only one that's a little bit confused by that, to be honest with you?
Yes.
No, sorry. Well, I don't know. I kind of like it. They let Vrabel leave, right? They fired Vrabel, so they're kind of getting something similar, right? Another defensive-minded coach. He was always good with his players. He was always liked by his players. I mean,
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Look, do you prefer Robert Saleh or Matt Nagy?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, I definitely prefer Robert Saleh.
Those were the two that were at the end. Yeah. It was Nagy or Saleh. So, look, the other ones may not have wanted to go there. Could they have maybe waited? Actually, they hired him, I think, after McDermott was fired. Like, that could have been, but maybe McDermott didn't want to go to.
Yeah, the interviews are already kind of in motion.
That's what I'm saying.
Who knows? Maybe McDermott just wants to take a year off. But the thing with Saleh that I liked was the Jets teams always played hard, and the defenses were always very 100%. Solid. And just the fact that he was I think he had 22 and 30 something record. The record notwithstanding, they had no offenses, they had no QB. We know what the ownership is there. It's very hard. It's very difficult to coach in New York. And I thought he did an admirable job having back-to-back, I think 7 and 10 seasons before then getting fired. They fired him at 2 and 3. and the team was playing well, and they haven't had an interception since.
No,
that's what I'm saying. They haven't had an interception since he left.
Come on,
Robert Saleh is a great coach. He was an excellent defensive coordinator for the Niners, whose defense was just destroyed with injuries.
Yes,
and they still made it pretty far in the playoffs, like further than everyone expected, and despite bad quarterback play throughout the entire year. So the Robert Saleh hiring, I like it from a Titan standpoint. If I'm Robert Saleh, I don't like it. Like if I'm a Niners fan, I'm pissed because they just lost a fantastic defensive coordinator who I don't even know if he's gonna be set up for success in Tennessee. Quite frankly,
that defense is very good. Tennessee has a very good defense.
They have a good
okay.
Yeah. Jeffrey
Maybe you guys
Jeffrey Simmons is awesome.
You guys have a better feeling about this than I do. Yeah.
And the GM, I know they had some GM issues recently. Like they went through a few GMs. They got, I think his name is Borgonzi, comes from the Chiefs. So I think there's that aspect. I think it will hopefully add more stability, but what they have to be patient. They can't be as rash as they were with Vrabel.
That I agree with. I think patience is going to be the key with Tennessee Titans. Is patience going to be the key with Kevin Stefanski and the Atlanta Falcons?
I love this one.
What does this mean for Kirk Cousins? Is this a good fit for Michael Penix? Because I feel like Stefanski hasn't had a great track record with quarterbacks.
He hasn't had great quarterbacks.
Is that Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, he ran him out of town.
But Baker Mayfield wasn't great at the beginning of his career, right? Let's just call a spade a spade.
He right now, I think he's been the best Browns quarterback in the last few since stats wise since Kevin Stefanski's coaching tenure at the Browns.
We're gonna blame Stefanski for Baker being bad?
Absolutely not. We're not gonna blame him. I just feel like he's moving on from Baker Mayfield and going on to Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. Like, what are we expecting?
That's a perfect fit, though, because they were together in Minnesota. But
that's true.
The Stefanski thing is akin to the Stefanski and Baker thing is akin to McVay and Goff, where I think Stefanski's issue with Mayfield is he needed him to play exactly how he wanted to, and back then Mayfield was very like cowboy, like gunslinger, just like throw it into tight windows. And actually Mayfield, I think he's been more protective of the football. It was the same thing with McVay and Goff, where McVay just looked like he didn't like Goff. He didn't like the way he played, and that's where they got Stafford, right? So I'm hoping he kind of learns to, hey, you're a head coach. You have to figure out how to, and Nacc, you say this all often, play to your players' strengths, right? Like don't neuter them as much, play to their strengths. So I think it's a good fit. The familiarity is there with Cousins. I don't think it's a good fit with Penix because Penix is not really kind of the Shanahan McVay style that they have. He's going to be more shotgun. I think it puts a lot of Penix's future in question, considering the ACL as well, in my opinion.
I think I agree with that.
Very good point. Very good point. Okay, so better days are ahead, and better days are ahead for the Miami Dolphins fans with Jeff Hafley. Listen, he was a great defensive coordinator for the Packers.
Yeah,
he was doing a lot with a little. Even when Micah Parsons got there, the defense did play really, really well. They had some serious talent over there. I think Hafley too. It's another situation like we saw with the Titans, where it's like they're gonna have to. It's going to be a bit of a long road ahead. I feel like that offense and that whole roster is going to need a lot of tinkering and a lot of changes. Obviously, you kind of thought that this was a writing on the wall when they picked up the Green Bay. Was the assistant GM? I'm forgetting his name.
John Eric Sullivan.
Yep.
John Eric Sullivan, as well as the new GM for the Miami Dolphins. So they're going to work hand in hand. Hopefully, going to transform that franchise. I think they're much in need of that. You wonder what's going to happen with Tua. Well, he probably won't be playing next year, but then who's going to be the quarterback, right? I mean, we've been having some conversations about potentially they should go after Malik Willis. I think that's the one name and probably the only name as far as free agent quarterbacks too, and that's kind of the challenge right now for your team looking for a quarterback.
I think it's either Willis or they just roll with Quinn Ewers and try to be very bad and hope to get the Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, whoever's going to come out, whoever's going to be first overall pick in the 2027 draft.
It's just going to be tough for them because me too. Like Willis would be, I think, a good fit for that offense, but the problem is they're up against it with the cap. I believe they're over the cap as we speak right now, and then with Tua's situation, you've got $56 million on the cap no matter what next year. So with the rumblings of Willis slated to get anywhere between $25 and $30 million next year or per season, I don't know if the Miami is set up to take on that type of cap at the moment. I'm gonna have to do a lot of juggling basically. And if it's not a win now roster, why would you do that? You know?
Yep, that's a very good point. So we're looking at most likely a serious rebuilding scenario for the Miami Dolphins. Well, they're going to need all the draft picks they can get. And now the big one, the bell of the ball, if you will. John Harbaugh signing with the New York Football.
I thought you were going to say Drew Petzing with the Lions.
I'm just going to go take a quick break.
We're going to save those.
I'll leave for about 25 minutes and I'll come back and you'll still be talking
about this. Can we have a serious football conversation about this right now? Let's put our biases aside. And I'm talking to you, Roger, and I'm obviously talking to myself.
You more than Roger. Me. Yeah. You've been more
100%. 100%. I was listening to the press conference today of John Harbaugh, and there's a level of confidence in that coach that I haven't seen in a lot of prior coaches that the Giants had. You just seem so comfortable.
Yeah.
And there's shades of Tom Coughlin. And
I felt that too.
Yeah. And it's a complete
and even Bill Parcells. I felt
Yeah.
Bill Parcells.
Listen, everyone wanted a culture guy, everyone wanted a CEO guy. Like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to call the offensive plays, not going to call the defensive plays. Like, it's going to be his coordinators are going to do that, and he's just going to be maintaining the entire structure of the team and all that stuff from top to bottom and all that and everything. And now the Giants are also going to be completely renovating their cafeteria and their player areas because apparently
and analytics.
Like, it's a top to bottom rebuild day. Like, this is really exciting.
So interesting is that Baltimore is one of the teams in the NFL that spends and has the biggest coaching staffs, one of the biggest coaching staffs in the league. So this is one of the reasons why it took so long for that contract to be signed, because he wanted something similar. He wanted the resources he had in Baltimore, and he wanted to change the structure. So anytime you have a polarizing figure like that can come in and sit down and, kind of dictate terms and got what he wanted, that's definitely big for culture change. I think it's a great hire for the Giants. They have the young pieces in place. Hopefully they can now stay healthy. I know Malik Neighbors has missed a lot of time. Dart is in that medical tent a few times a game, and Scatabo plays like a basket case. So you're just hoping that these guys stay healthy. You had the Abdul Carter, who took a little time, but
his last 5 games he played lights out though.
Yeah, don't worry about the sacks. The pressure was really good.
Yeah, towards the end of the year he really came on. So they have the pieces to do so, and now they have that structure in place. But again, it just goes to show that he had all that in Baltimore, and he just wanted all of that for success. Analytics, like you said, Roger, he just wanted a team, because they're just known. Baltimore is one of the teams that have the most coaches and the most extra coaches throughout the NFL.
I'm all for it. Honestly, sign me up. The Giants were one of the oldest organizations in the NFL, and they've been doing things the same way for quite a while. It's about time there were some changes. So my John Harbaugh jersey's in the mail. So we got some OC hirings and vacancies too that we also want to touch on real quick. Listen, this is a big one. Drew Petzing. My goodness. The former Cardinals offensive coordinator is now the new offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. What does that mean for Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, and company? What does that mean?
It's big run game. I kind of grew to like it because I was listening to another podcast. I think it was one of Nate Tice's podcasts, and they were saying how a lot of the Arizona Cardinals advanced metrics from a running standpoint were actually really like success metrics were actually really good with the Cardinals while he was there, and they ran a lot of heavy personnel. So what I think is going to happen is it's Jahmyr Gibbs potentially to the moon, more of Jahmyr Gibbs. I know, TBD what happens with David Montgomery. He had some social media posts that made it seem like maybe he doesn't like his role. And I think it's going to be more like traditional shotgun under center for Goff. So I think it's going to be more of what Dan Campbell's offense, what he wants it to be, more traditional, pound the rock.
I like that.
So I think that's what it'll be.
I like that.
Not a sexy hire, but
no, it's definitely not a sexy hire. I'm sure a lot of people were Googling this name when they found out that he did get hired, because not everyone looks at the Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinators and just coaching staff in general to say, hey, who are these guys? And can we say the same thing about Eric Bieniemy? Hired as an offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, it looks like.
So he's going back right to KC,
right?
But he's not the primary play caller. So I'm not sure how much impact that will have personally.
He was, I think, was an assistant head coach for the Commanders in 2023. I'm assuming that came with primary play calling.
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, now he was
Last
year he was like a running back coach.
He was running back coach for the Bears.
He did
what a fall from grace, though.
He did a great job. He did a great job with Swift and Monangai.
Yeah, he did.
No, for sure. I'm just saying, like, what a fall from grace from like 5 years ago, where he was like the highly touted coach. Then didn't he go to college for a year?
Yeah, well, last year in 2024, before last year, is in UCLA. I have his Wikipedia page up, so I didn't memorize this. He's assistant head coach and offensive coordinator for UCLA. So I guess you come back in the NFL, you get a knock. I don't know. Maybe you couldn't find anything last minute.
Bobby Slowick vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, Bobby Slowick vibes. And David Blow. I hope I'm really hope I'm pronouncing that properly.
Is it Bluck? Like Tyler Shuck?
Like Shuck.
I have no clue.
Promoted to the quarterback.
I think it's Bluth.
Bluth. It's whatever. It's one of those three. David got promoted as the quarterback coach, and we got some head coaching vacancies. Still some interesting head coaching vacancies for the Arizona Cardinals. Now the Buffalo Bills, which is definitely probably the most attractive destination. The Cleveland Browns. We still got the Las Vegas Raiders, Steelers, and also still the Baltimore Ravens as well. Like, there's a lot of interesting spots that are completely you don't. Mike McCarthy is doing interviews at a bunch of places. Brian Flores is interviewing. Joe Brady was interviewing. Matt Nagy's interviewing. Brian Daboll is like a hot name that's going around for the Buffalo Bills just because that link to Josh Allen, which I don't think is a good idea, but that's just me. I don't know, man. Like, it's interesting.
McDermott becomes the hottest, easily the best candidate. Honestly,
I agree.
I would have, like you said, Nacc, like I would have taken him maybe above Jeff Hafley, but maybe he's not in for a rebuild after being with the Bills and coming so close to a championship. But I think like a lot of the social media kind of hoopla around McDermott was, should he or should he have not been fired? I think he was 98-50 in 9 seasons, 8-8 playoff record. Like, it's a guy who's known for his defense, but it felt like the defense fell off a bit. But
it was an ego thing. There was reports coming out that the GM and the owner had a meeting with him, and he said, like, we don't have all the pieces, and they just took it in a bad way. And they're like, we're gonna fire him, and we'll promote the GM to vice president of ops as well.
And the GM has not been good.
No, terrible.
And we know something.
He should have been the first one to go.
We know a thing or two about GMs coming from the Buffalo Bills about how good they are.
I felt he did he did a good job in the early portion of
probably
the first. Yeah, maybe you're right, because there's from a wide receiver.
Yes, 100%. And I was gonna say, like, you look at the body. Whenever you're deciding upon how a GM is performing or not, you got to look like 3 or 4 years down the line to see how their draft picks are impacting the team. And you can see right off the bat if they are impacting in a positive perspective or not. If he's hitting on his, his 5th round picks, his 6th round picks, his 4th round picks that are going to be money for a roster to have sustainable success in the long run, because those guys are coming in on cheap. They're automatic starters and they're contributing right away to your team. What's his name? Brandon Bean or whatever his name is. Like, he wasn't. You look at the last 3, like just now, his last 3 drafts, and there's like 1 or 2 names in there that like are brand names and known names that actually look like they are contributing. Apart from that, it's the majority of the roster that was inherited to him.
Yeah. No argument there.
No argument there. But they did get a good running back in Brandon Cooks, which I don't know if was drafted by him. Probably not. But interesting about running backs, though, is now we're going to pop into the running back segment as to see where they do rank. Way too early rankings for 2026. This is going to change in a little bit, but that's okay. We're having fun over here.
Oh, hell yeah. I had a great time doing this. So looking forward to presenting the early running back rankings. So it's a very, very tough exercise. I think the running back position was very strong this year. I think in fantasy, it kind of shown that having a bona fide RB1 is crucial to having a winning team in fantasy. So I'll just go through quickly my mindset in terms of how I did these rankings. So obviously PPR focused. If you don't play PPR, what the hell's wrong with you? Prioritize guys who are lead backs. You'll end up seeing there's a lot of running backs last year who were on 1-year deals. So, and a lot of them who did really well. So it kind of had to ding them a little bit because I don't know where they'll be next year. few running backs either may be traded or will be free agents because they're also on the rookie deals. Running backs coming off injury were dinged too. And then just before we begin, I want to quickly think and mention 3 to 5 teams that will need running back help in 2026. So keep that in mind in terms of, some of those free agent running backs, where they might end up and how that can maybe change their rankings. So 3 teams that desperately need running back help in 2026 are the Chiefs, the Saints, and the Texans. So without further ado, here are my way too early 2026 running back rankings. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. There you go. So we have 1, 2, 3 rankings. Bijan Robinson at 1, Jahmyr Gibbs at 2, Christian McCaffrey at 3. I think we'd all agree they're all interchangeable. CMC, Bijan, and Jahmyr finish in that order, 1, 2, 3 in PPR. But I mean, Nacc, I'm curious for you. As some I don't know, how is it you were able to get CMC and Gibbs last year? I'm curious what you think in terms of how you would rank. What do you think of me having CMC as 3, Jahmyr Gibbs as 2, and Bijan at 1?
I think you nailed them. Bijan was just a force this year. I mean, Gibbs was too, and I think Gibbs now. I think they're looking to trade Montgomery, so Gibbs becomes that now bell cow back in that backfield. McCaffrey, he's always like 1 year good, 1 year injured,
Yes.
1 year good, 1 year injured. So he would scare me a little bit at the 3 position, but from what he did this year, it's hard to argue he can't replicate it again next year, right? Like he had just the catches. I think he had 900 and 900 plus rushing, 900 plus receiving.
Yeah.
He's just a dual threat in both. And honestly, the receivers, there's not much there. Ayuk is probably getting shipped out of town. Purcell's always hurt. So like he's very big. And now you have Kittle, who's going to be missing a good portion of the beginning of the year as well. So honestly, the top 3 for me are perfect. And like you said, they're interchangeable, but I think they're perfect the way they are.
Yeah. And CMC had some issues from a rushing efficiency standpoint. I think he was under 4 yards per carry.
Yeah.
So that, and then from a durability, he's entering his age 30 season. Bijan, I think it's easy. It's a great fit with Stefanski from like the kind of outside zone type running scheme. So I think this was an easy one for me. But again, very interchangeable between 1, 2, and 3. Then at 4, I had James Cook, and that was an easy one for me, at least. He led the league in yards, 5.2 yards per carry, second in the league in carries, another double-digit touchdown year. We thought he was going to have a huge regression last offseason. I am not going into this next season thinking that. I think you guys would all agree. That was probably one of our worst takes.
Yep, and we both 4 and 5 actually.
Yeah, I was going to say Devon Achane too falls in that.
Yeah, great.
We missed on that one as well.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So at 5, Devon Achane. So I personally had Cook just above him from the durability standpoint. I feel like Achane still gets nicked up a little bit, but he was tough, man. Like he had that soft tissue calf injury early on in the year. He kept going, and I think he just missed like the final 1 or 2 games, but he was awesome despite a lot of turmoil, bad QB play, and 67 catches. I think the sky's the limit for him next year. Mm-hmm. At 6, Jonathan Taylor, he was the runaway RB1 and offensive player of the year, but he tailed off with the loss of Daniel Jones. I think his value could be slightly dependent on the QB that will be playing early on next year because Jones has the Achilles. I mean, he finished as RB4, but Jonathan, Fab, I know you're always really high on him. He always scares me every year, I find.
You hit the nail on the head. A lot of it comes down to who's playing quarterback. And we spoke about this a little bit in the beginning of last year, too, about when we were deciding about who's going to be playing quarterback, whether it's Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, and which one would benefit Jonathan Taylor more. It was obviously Jones, and you saw that in the first 10 games of the season where he was averaging like 30 points a game. Yeah. And then Jones got injured, and then the 3 touchdowns per game went away. So it's very... He's a blue chip running back through and through.
Yeah.
But he needs a quarterback to be able to make the defenses stay honest. And
he's just
not going to get that with Anthony Richardson
either. I mean, he was a bit better this year.
This year was his best.
It was his best.
This year was his best year.
Yeah.
But it's still like his best year was 46 receptions for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is good, which is very good. But compared to guys like Achane and Gibbs and obviously McCaffrey and even Bijan. Like
Brown,
it's nothing.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry at 7 and 8. So Saquon's going to enter his age 29 season. Obviously, it was a down year. He finished as RB 14. I think it was more coordinator O-line based and less on skill. And then Henry, I mean, he got better and better as the year went on. He had that 230-yard game against the Packers. He finished as RB7. Look, I think both guys will be slightly undervalued next year. Saquon, because of the year he had. I think Henry, is someone going to say, hey, next year is the year where he's going to enter his age 32 year? And I feel like just, I don't want to play that game where I get caught. Fab, you said it in our Do Not Draft episode where you don't want to risk it on Henry, maybe at cost or maybe just overall together.
Like if you drafted Derrick Henry last year, you didn't make the playoffs. But if by some miracle you did make the playoffs, you probably won your championship.
Yeah.
Because the last game of the season, you scored you 45 points. He got 6 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Like I need that throughout the season. I don't need that the last 2 games of the season.
Yeah, and I was one of those actually in 2 leagues where I drafted him in the first round, either 5 or 6 on each of them, and didn't make the playoffs because the beginning of the year he was just horrendous. He started getting better too late, and it cost people championships. Now, again, now we have to think there's no coach there right now. Who's the coach going to be? Is he going to be utilized the most? His ranking is going to change on whoever the coach is in that situation.
Great point.
Personally, I like Chase Brown over Derrick Henry as long as Burrow stays healthy. Him too. He came on towards the end of the year when Burrow was back, so I think I like him better, more PPR as well. So again, I don't want to get got with it's been 5 years now. We've been saying like his downfall is coming. What is it? His 32 season now or 33 season? Like
enter age 32.
Like at one point he's going to fall off. And like personally for me, I'm not putting a top 10 value in draft stock. Like I don't even know if he's a second round pick to me next year.
So that's where maybe at cost he's high, but if you get him at a value pick, that could potentially be a league winner. You mentioned Chase Brown, Nacc. So I had him at 9. So he had a brutal start to the year. He ended the year as RB8. The last 5 weeks of the season, he was the RB2 behind Bijan Robinson. So he was a big PPR spam guy, and no surprise that coincides with Joe Burrow being back. Josh Jacobs, my main man, at number 10. He finished at RB13 despite O-line issues, but the ride was really, really tough. There was some sprinkling of Chris Brooks. The lack of explosive plays is what dings him down for me personally, and it was tough to watch, even with the 13 touchdowns, 3.9 yards per carry. He was 34th among running backs who have a minimum of 100 rush attempts last year, an explosive run rate. 34th. So he was behind a lot of guys who you would expect to not be explosive. I think up until the last few games of the season, he didn't have a run of over 20 yards. So imagine that. So he's going to be a pass for me next year. I already mentioned in our Do Not Draft episode. I love the player, but he's 28, but it feels like he's 30 in his 30s already, the way he's been playing and with the lack of explosiveness. So Fab, I'm curious your thoughts on Kyren Williams at 11 versus Jacobs at 10. So Williams finished as RB9, another solid usage season, double-digit totals and touchdown. But we saw the emergence of Blake Corum with 145 carries and 750 yards, 6 total touchdowns. You're the Kyren Williams guy.
So, well, he is the model of efficiency in my opinion. He is what you want for 1,200 yards every single year and about 10 touchdowns. The problem is that he got that this year with like 60 less carries, and that's my concern. He was super efficient, but Blake Corum is a thing, and Sean McVay wants to keep his guy like for at least with what he.
Do you think I'm too high on? Do you think I'm too high on him
this year? A little bit, yeah. Like I would probably knock him down about like 4 or 5 pegs. I would have. I think Ashton Genty has a higher ceiling. I think Omarion Hampton right now. I feel a little bit better about Omarion Hampton over Kyren Williams, believe it or not. Trayvon Henderson, like that's a little bit more muddy waters, but I like that too. And then Bucky Irving, listen, he's still talented. And at 15, my problem with Kyren Williams, I'm You wonder if the carries are going to continue to go down, if they're going to continue to make sure that he's rested when they need him to be healthy. And that's not going to translate to fantasy football goodness, in my opinion. That's my concern. Like he's a really, really nice RB2. That's how I see him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you have him right on the cusp of an RB1. And he did finish as RB, 9?
He finished as RB9, yes.
Yeah. He also had less receiving yards. No, receiving yards were good.
My thinking is the year was that good, and Blake Corum still ate into it, and he was a big part of the playoff run. So we're going to see in the next few games if they get through the Rams. You touched upon it already, but the sophomore running backs at 12, 13, and 14, Genty at 12, Marion Hampton at 13, Henderson at 14. It's crazy that Genty finished as RB11. It's like considering how bad that season was in Oakland. Bad QB, bad coaching staff, very bad online. So I think it could be very promising with Mendoza. Hampton at 13, it was an injury-riddled season, but he did have games of 25, 27, 16, and 20 points through 9 games. And the Chargers O-line was obviously decimated. Nacc, I know you had Justin Herbert last year, so I'm sure you saw a lot of Omarion Hampton and what he could do when obviously he was in play and healthy, and I think he looked pretty good.
Yep.
Henderson's the wild card in my opinion. His highs were very high. He finished as the RB21 on only I think 180 carries, 900 yards. So that's a very hard yards per carry. He had a 32 fantasy point game against the Jets, and then he had a 28 fantasy point game against Tampa. Then he even had a game of 30 points versus Buffalo. So I think the only concern for everyone is Stevenson he's looked really good in the playoffs, and I think he signed a 4-year deal a few years ago. I don't think he's going anywhere. So this is kind of a shot in the dark to see the explosiveness. How could they factor Trevion Henderson a little bit more into the mix? Bucky Irving at 15, injury plague season, weird situation with his shoulder. I think his size will be a factor in terms of how much work he's going to get. Nacc, you've always been the Bucky Irving guy. What do you think of my ranking here?
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I think like 12, 13, 14, 15 could be all interchangeable depending on the variables, right? Like as you mentioned, I had Bucky Irving pegged as a top 5 fantasy finisher last year, potential for number 1 after his brilliant rookie year. Obviously, the injuries this year derailed him a little bit, but I think coming back full off season, get healthy, I think he could push for those top 12 numbers. So like I said, 12, 13, 14, 15 right now, those guys, I think it could be interchangeable.
Yeah, and then thanks, Nacc. And then from 16 up until 21, there's a lot of free agent running backs. So Breece Hall, he might be a free agent depending on what happens in the offseason. I think the talent is still there. He also somehow was able to finish as RB21 despite an awful Jet season. I would love him on the Chiefs. Like, guys, if he gets on the Chiefs, he is a top 10 running back, no question. And that's where we kind of, even the Texans, right? The Texans, I'm not a big fan of Woody Marks. Mixon's probably gone. That could be another really interesting team. Kenneth Walker III and Travis Etienne at 17 and 18. Also 2 guys who could be free agents as well. There's a lot of trade rumors and trade talk about Etienne, considering how Bashal Tutin looked. Kenneth Walker III, I think a lot of people were burned by him, but with the Charbonnet ACL news, if he does end up staying in Seattle, I think he gets out of the do not draft list and potentially is someone who can even go up the ranks. But he's a player that you can't fit everywhere because he doesn't really catch passes. He gets injured a lot. So we'll see. And then with Etienne, I think he had a really solid year, and you saw him from a pass catching standpoint do a lot more. He finished as the RB10, so really good season for him.
And he really turned it on towards the end of the season too, just like his quarterback did.
Absolutely, your guy. Yeah. Swift at 19 is interesting. I think he had a good year, but with Modern Guy, I was reading a little on Bears Reddit and Bears Twitter that Swift could be expendable for Modern Guy, and maybe they draft someone to replace him. So we'll see. He could be a cut candidate. In retrospect, I think 19 might be a bit high for Swift. If you factor in at 20, Quinshaw Junkins, I think another player who I would have probably put higher, but the O-line was disastrous last year. He had so many yards. His yards before contact was one of the worst in the league. Quarterback play, we don't know what's going to happen. And obviously there's the fibula injury, which He's supposed to make a full recovery, but still TBD. Javonte at 21. He's going to potential free agent as well. He was signed to a 1-year, $3 million deal. Finished as the RB11. I thought he looked fantastic on his bounce back season. Finally, I think we've expected a lot from him, but again, it depends. If he's with the Cowboys, I like him, and if he's not, I'll have to see where he goes. And then from 22 to 28, 22 is your boy Jaylen Warren, Nacc. 23 is RJ Harvey. 24 Cam Scadaboo. 25 Blake Corum. I think that's probably as high as you'll get a kind of running back committee guy or second running back in the depth chart, but he looked really good.
Oh, yeah.
26.
He did.
20, yeah, go ahead, Fab. You want to add anything on?
No, he did, and it's just that having a running back in the Sean McVay offense, that's what it does, right?
Really?
Like he gets carries and he gets production out of it, and it helps when you have a quarterback that again keeps the defense honest, and they have a very good offensive line. So they're going to produce every single week in and week out, even with the the 9 or 10 carries that he gets.
Totally. 26, there's Ramondre Stevenson. Again, we just talked about him with regards to Travion Henderson. 27, Kyle Monangai. Really, really solid season. I believe he finished as I don't know if I have it in front of me. He was around the RB 30 area, but about 150 carries, 700 yards, I think 6 or 7 touchdowns. So really solid rookie year for a 7th round pick. And then to cap it off, Bashal Tutin. We talked about him with regards to Travis Etienne Jr. Let's see what happens with Etienne, but Tutin could be a guy who rises up the boards depending on what happens with Etienne. So some guys who I didn't add were just guys who I can't really trust. Tony Pollard, David Montgomery, depending on what happens with him in Detroit. Tyrone Tracy, we expect Cam Scadaboo to make a full recovery, and then Woody Marks, I talked about it. I think he is a guy who is more of a backup running back. So any final thoughts on the list, gentlemen?
No,
I think Cam Scadaboo is too low.
Of course you do.
I think Cam Scadaboo is too low. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he crashed the top 20 next year. Like he was very productive a lot of time.
Yeah, he was fun to watch too. Maybe just the last one I'll mention, RJ Harvey. The Denver run game actually got worse when J.K. Dobbins was out, and J.K. Dobbins, I didn't mention him here because again he injured another year. But when Dobbins was there, Denver was averaging 5 yards per carry. They went down to 4 yards per carry when Dobbins was injured. So I think
Dobbins is the better runner, right? Harvey is a lot more of that pass catching back.
Yes. So I actually think, maybe one of these free agent running backs, if Dobbins isn't back, might also end up in Denver, because I don't know how much they trust RJ Harvey yet. I definitely don't think Sean Payton trusted him yet, because we still saw Jaleel McLaughlin and Taylor Batty. So
he's a multiple running back guy anyways, right?
Exactly.
So
yes.
He's never going to go with that bell cow back.
Totally. So
100%.
So that'll do it for the way too early running backs. As we're talking about the Denver Broncos, this is a perfect segue to talk about, let's recap divisional round, and then let's talk about championship weekend. So Nacc, it was a really fun, exciting playoff weekend in the past. Let's get into it.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, for me, the divisional round is always my favorite weekend. You always have, the juggernauts or supposed juggernauts coming into the weekend. So definitely a fun weekend. Obviously, there was a lot of controversy as well on some catches or some INTs. Just want to get your thoughts quickly on the Josh Allen OT INT. Was it an INT? Was it a catch? What was that?
My opinion, it was a catch. He caught it, his elbow hit the ground, and that's it. It's a catch. I don't know. That's how I see it. That's how I foresee it. The play was technically he was down by contact when his elbow hit the ground and he had full control of the ball.
It is not a catch by simple fact that he did not survive the ground. So one of the criteria for it to be a catch is you have to survive the ground. So even if they were kind of tugging at, when I listened to a podcast and they basically said, imagine if the DB was not there, Cooks basically caught the ball and fell down like he did, and then the ball came out, which is kind of what happened because he didn't survive the ground. And one of the key criteria for a catch is that you have to survive the ground.
So it happened twice more on the weekend, same situations, and those other two scenarios were called a catch. It was the same exact thing. I think it was in the Rams game that it happened one time. And was it the Pats game? I remember it was crazy because it happened 3 times on the weekend. Twice it was called a catch, and then in the Bills game it was called an INT. I think it's just a rule that's
that's
the
the
other
problem
thing
with the NFL.
Yeah.
The NFL has rules that but the rules are very specific, and they don't and they leave area for where you can clearly see if it's right or wrong, even though by looking at it, it seems wrong, but the rule says it's right because of the way the rule is written. And that's always been a weird thing, a weird nuance that I have with the NFL, with the way that they structure their language and the rules and all that. Like, I agree with you, Raj. Like, he didn't make a football move or whatever, didn't survive the ground, but he caught it. He caught it, and he was down. His elbows were down, and then if that was the end zone, if that was in the end zone, would it be a touchdown? Because his elbow was down. His elbow was down, and he has control of the ball. And his elbow, he needs an elbow. It's equal to a hip and an ankle.
I don't think we know. I don't think anyone knows at this point.
Not even the refs know.
Though honestly, the worst part of that whole situation, the worst part about the whole situation is they didn't even take time to review it.
Yeah,
like that I think was the most awful. Like overtime, playoffs, like
100%.
Take the time. Like McDermott had to spend a timeout to try to get them to go back to the replay. Like, you have it there. We've seen a lot less be reviewed for 25 minutes, right? And this, in the situation that it was, I think that's what McDermott got all heated about. But look, it was called an INT, and the Bills lost to the Broncos.
My condolences, Nacc.
Yeah, I'm a big Josh Allen guy. What do you want to do? This is my quarterback. But on that note, to the team they lost, the Denver Broncos also lost someone at the end of the game. And there's kind of some rumblings going on. At first, they said that he did it on the kneel down, and then there was reports saying that it was the play before that happened. But now everyone is saying, even some of the analysts on the field were like, well, he was walking fine to the locker room. Apparently, now there's rumors that it happened after inside the locker room while celebrating that he fractured his foot. Again, that's probably never going to come out if that's the case, but there is rumblings for that. Which would be, and you look at, what's that?
No, I was saying during the interview, he wasn't putting any weight on his left leg.
That's what I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Like sideline.
Yeah, but he was walking
wasn't putting
fine.
any weight on his,
He was walking fine to the locker room. That's what was the funnest part. But yes, Jared Stidham comes in presumably to start the AFC Championship game. I ask you, Raj, could he be the next Nick Foles this weekend?
I've always liked Stidham. And then when he had a stint in New England, and he started a few preseason games this year, he had a few starts when they benched Russell Wilson as well. So I think he's a guy that he's always been kind of well regarded as a backup in the league. I think he even played for the Raiders. He had some really good games for the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken, too. So they have an amazing defense. New England's defense is very good as well. I think for a 2 to 3 game period, well, now it's 2 game period, he absolutely could be the next Nick Foles because that defense is still very, very good. So, I like Stidham. I trust him in this scenario.
So, fun fact: the Patriots are 0-4 on the road in Denver in the playoffs all time. So that's something to look at. I think I kind of tend to agree, especially with the defense that they have, could help them out. Although the Pats did play Houston and played decently well. I mean, Houston D still dominated, but any final word on Stidham, Fab?
He just has to play mistake-free. He has to really manage the game and not try to win the game for the Denver Broncos.
Great segue.
The winning of the Denver Broncos versus the Pats this weekend will not happen because of Stidham or whatever, however you pronounce his name. But if they do win, it will be because he didn't contribute, either negatively or positively, in my opinion. Honestly, you have to play mistake free because even Pats have a good defense, right? Like, and they can hurt you. You can make mistakes on that defense, and there's gonna be a few point swings on that. So he's got to be very cautious. And I think Sean Payton's gonna put together a good game plan. But I still think the Patriots win this game. I'm sorry, Patriots to me, after beating his Houston Texans, after being that defense, in my opinion, like Drake May can beat any defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean Drake May was a
he
had
was
a factor, but
Drake May had 4 fumbles, 2
Yeah.
lost on the weekend. He had an interception. So
Yeah.
three turnovers. Usually with decent QB play on the other side, you eke out a win with or you know you're gonna lose. So I think Drake May, he played good enough to get
Mhm.
by, but again, now going back to good QB play, good segue into Mr. CJ Stroud. What did he cost himself this offseason? Will they give him a because he's eligible this year to get a contract extension after year 3? Will they give him an extension? Will they play out the 4th year and wait? What do you think, Fab? What was that performance like to you?
His performance was horrible. We know that. I think. Well, what was his QB rating? It was like 20 or
28.
something.
28, I think.
28, and apparently they're like, if he was just grounding the ball on every single possession, he would have finished with
Would have been 39.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's
They
bonkers.
probably would have won too.
Those stats are
literally-
weird.
But they also
They're so
pretty. They
stupid.
could have won if he just.
It
Yeah,
also,
exactly.
100%. But it also tells you
Exactly.
the formula that they use to calculate all that information is stupid to begin with. I don't. Did it hurt him? Well, yeah, obviously. Did it hurt him to the point where he won't get a contract extension? No, I don't think so. CJ Stroud is in his 4th year, I want to say, or
Yeah,
third
Just
third year. They made the playoffs every single year with him as a quarterback.
They went
They've
to
had
the
a plus
divisional round
record.
too. They've
Divi-
won a
yeah.
playoff game every year as well.
Yeah. it's
Yeah. So like that counts for something. We always talk about how the offensive line is not good. That also counts for something. I don't know. I think better days are ahead. I don't think his rookie year was a fluke. I think he's had a few bad years, but listen, I'm not saying give the guy $60 million, but I definitely think they're going to extend him for sure.
Did you guys listen or hear the quote that Troy Aikman had at the end of the game about CJ Stroud?
Yeah,
So
just give me
I have it in
yeah.
front of me. So it's
Do it.
CJ Stroud has been chasing his rookie success for the last 2 years. He's not been the same player. We've not seen the development from him. There's a reason for that, and it has to be addressed. So I don't know
What's
what
the
it
reason?
is. Is it the offensive line? And actually, my theory is that it's the offensive line. Because when I see him play, I see a guy who has no confidence, who bails out of clean pockets, who looks
I agree.
skittish as hell. And he's never been a guy who escapes very well out of the pocket. That was kind of the reason why people like Bryce Young over him. And I think we're starting to see that he might be a type of player that you have to maybe build a better offensive infrastructure around him than maybe some other players like, a Joe Burrow or a Mahomes or a Lamar or Josh Allen, obviously. So, and I think just he needs, what's the word, hubris. He needs to humble himself a little bit. The podcast talking about him being top 5 player, the big growing of Caleb. I think he needs to take an introspective step back and see where he needs to be better.
I think that's maybe what he meant by it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Like maybe he just needs a sit down kind of thing, and
Yeah.
he's like, this off season, like, go to work.
Yeah.
Like, just put your head down and just go to work, right? The Patriots, I know we've a lot of people, myself included, have spoke about how they've had an easy road to the playoffs. They've played minimum amount of playoff teams going into the season, and but to that regard, they're also playing the top 3 defenses in the first 3 weeks of the playoffs in the Chargers, the Texans, and the Broncos. So I'd love to, like, is that legit enough? If they beat the Broncos and go to the playoffs, is that legit enough to call them like they can go in there and beat a Seattle or a Rams team?
Yeah, I think even now, I'm sorry, like this whole, we joke about it and I say it in jest, like they've had the easiest schedule and all that stuff. And sure, statistically they have, but you still got to beat those teams. And we're still talking about NFL teams here. This whole thing about like tough schedule or not tough schedule, all that, like, I don't care. Like we're talking about nuances that barely exist and no one really cares about, to be honest with you. They beat a bunch of teams. Their record is their record. They deserve to be where they are because that team is good, and Drake May is very, very good, and they have a good offensive system in place. They have good defense and have great coaching. Like, call it what it is, man. They're a good team, and they've gone up against tough defenses, and they've beat them. They've gone up against soft defenses, and they've destroyed them. So, I don't know. For me, if I see the Patriots in the Super Bowl, they deserve to be there, and it's tough to say as a Giants fan, but they deserve to be there. They have that good of a roster. Their coaching is good. Like I have no qualms if they make it to the Super Bowl. I'll have more of an issue if Denver makes it to the Super Bowl, just because Bo Nix got injured. But if he was healthy and if it was Nix versus Drake May and all that stuff, like I would have been okay with either one because they both have very good teams. They both have very good offense. They both have very good defenses.
We won a Super Bowl with the Giants with Hostetler when he replaced Phil Simms. I believe it was the first Bills one or the Redskins one, but in '86, I believe. So we should be rooting for the Broncos, Fab.
I'm definitely rooting for the Broncos.
I don't care. I really don't care. Like I'm more. It's apathy for me. Like I don't care either way. I just root for a good game. I will not be happy or sad if 100%. Either one of them win. Honestly.
Well, speaking of good games,
I'm not going to go home and cry about it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go home and cry about it if either one wins over here. Let's be honest now. Like, speaking of good games, Nacc.
Yeah, speaking good games, one that wasn't a good game was that Seattle 49ers game. Pure domination from Seattle. They made Purdy kind of look really ordinary in that game. I know, again, they were missing a few of their guys, but you had that Kenneth Walker III kind of breakout game. I think he had 2 touchdowns, right?
I think 3.
3 even. Yeah. 3. Yeah, you're right. 3 touchdowns. I don't know. The 49ers, they always seem to be in there, and I think this is the first year that they're not when they're in the playoffs, they go to the NFC Championship game, and when they're not, obviously they don't. I think this is the first time it happens in the last 10 years where they're in the playoffs, they don't go to the NFC Championship. They have a league-leading 2,036 games missed due to injury since 2007. Is that not crazy? Is that just me to think that's an unbelievably crazy stat?
Substation.
What is all this?
I'm surprised it's higher. Yeah, I'm surprised it's more than the Giants, actually.
Well, I think it blows the Giants out of the water.
Yeah, it does. No, it does.
They got to figure that out, and they got to figure out.
So what's next for them? Like, what do they do?
Ayuk has to go. Like, that situation was terrible.
Yeah.
They got to get a healthy wide receiver there. Like I think we all like Ricky Pearsall, but my God, like aside from the gunshot, this guy cannot get healthy.
Can't stay on the field.
He cannot stay on the field. Nick Bosa can't stay on the field. Maybe a little less squats and a little less like maybe he needs to lean down a little bit. Maybe he's like too big for his frame because he just cannot stay healthy either. Even the first round pick, I believe, that Michael Williams, I think he couldn't. He wasn't. He didn't see the field either. So I don't know, man. Yeah. It's the talent is there. What do they do with Mac Jones? He is under contract, but he might be a trade candidate. I like Kyle Shanahan. It's just it's hard to know what to do when it's that many injuries.
It's weird. I feel like it's a weird team. It's a weird team, and I think even look last year. Remember, we thought they were going to finish 3rd or 4th in the division. They lost 9 starters on defense, and it was super tough. And they came in and they won 12 games. But it's just a weird situation right now.
Guys, I got a little bit of breaking news here. Chargers to hire Mike McDaniel as the OC. Yeah, nice. Just breaking news. Breaking news.
Nice. I like that move.
I like that a lot, actually.
And he stepped down. He told the Browns he was out on a head coach position to take an OC job.
Yeah,
I hope good for Herbert.
I hope it's not the last of him as a head coach because I think he did a good job with the Dolphins. I hope he uses this as a stepping stone to get another head coach job. But this is fantastic for Herbert.
And he stays in good weather. So we're still going to see those Capris and sunglasses.
Looks like a drug lord.
He does.
He wanted to go. He was never going to go to cold weather. He always wanted to stay in the sun. Speaking of the sun, the Rams and the Bears, the game of the weekend. That was a fun one, ladies and gentlemen. Rams got it done. They got it done when they needed to get it done. Stafford looked he made the plays when he needed to make the plays, and that throw and catch to Devontae Adams, that was a thing of beauty. Kept it for the overtime. It was so fun to watch. But I ask you, I know that Ben Johnson was asked this question, obviously, after that miraculous throw by Caleb, when everyone thought the game was over, especially when your quarterback's running backwards like that. That's never a good sign, and everyone thought game over. He throws the ball to Cole Kmet, catches it for a touchdown. Fab, should Ben Johnson have gone for 2?
No. That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Should he have gone for 2? Yeah, he should have. He should have, like, balls to the wall. Like, sorry, like playoff is on, like playoff hopes and all that stuff. Like, we're playing with house money. Like, yeah, you should have gone for 2. Nobody was going to be expecting it. The defense wouldn't be able to stop it properly. Yeah.
Raj?
Yeah. Very gutsy. Yeah, but it pays off,
I thought he should have gone for 2 as well. I think he didn't because they were so bad in short yardage that game.
Yeah.
And like going for 2 is basically like fourth down type plays, and they couldn't execute. So
they would get 7 yards on first down and then punt the ball away. That was his explanation, right?
You said it so well. You said it. That was exactly the game. Like, it's exactly as you said it.
You'd get a run or a pass of 7 yards. You'd be in 2nd and 3. They'd lose 2 yards, and then they'd go, like, it was just, even those 4th and 1s. They didn't convert a lot of 4th ones, and I think that's what Ben Johnson said. He says, I thought about it for sure, but he said, our defense was playing well, and we weren't good in short yardage situations. So, there was a short yardage situation, goal line, 2 yards out,
Yeah. I know it's hindsight, but like when you think of those plays, it really felt like he ran when he should have passed, and he passed when he should have ran.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, it's easy to say now, but yeah, I get it. But I think definitely you should have gone for it.
And Stafford, is he a Hall of Famer as it stands now, or does he have to win the next 2 games?
He has to win the next 2 games. He has to.
I agree.
He has to win.
Yeah.
And he vaults Eli Manning's candidacy, in my opinion, because of he's likely going to be the MVP. I off the top of my head, I don't know if he has an All-Pro. He has an All-Pro this year.
He has it this year for sure.
I don't know if he's had one with the Rams previously or with Detroit, but MVP, really good stats, 2 Super Bowls. Like, he vaults Eli's candidacy, in my opinion, and it makes it tough for Eli, I think. As much as there's like a huge, like, there's a 7-year gap from when they played. I feel like Stafford getting this ring, if he gets it, and this MVP, I feel like voters are going to think about that in terms of Eli Manning's candidacy.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to wait 5 years from when he retires, right? So,
yeah,
like, you might not, like, I don't know.
Look, Roger, I think they're going to think of that criteria in terms of, well, look, Eli Manning also has 2, but he doesn't have the stats that Stafford has, and he doesn't have the MVP, and he doesn't have the All-Pro, right?
No, I agree. I think it's going to be, Manning has a tough few years now to get into the Hall of Fame, just based on the players and the quarterbacks that are going to be ahead of him here. You have this year, you have Drew Brees. I think next year is Brady. The year after,
have Big Ben this year too.
Ben is Ben's after Brady. This year's Brees, next year Brady, and the year after is Ben.
Okay.
So there's going to be a tough stretch for Manning to get in, and then, like, again, I personally think if Stafford wins the MVP, he wins the Super Bowl MVP, All-Pro this year. Like, how do you not retire at the end of this year? Your body is broken down. Like, you're going to be 40. How do you not retire on the high note? So I think, yes. And then, again, you have 3 years and then 2 more years. Like, Stafford's coming out. Like, I agree with you. I think this definitely vaults him for sure, if he does it.
I feel a Fab rebuttal on my Eli Manning take.
The fire was burning.
I could tell.
He was very.
Hold on, let's backtrack now in the conversation, because there's a lot that happened since then.
Oh boy!
Listen, if Matthew Stafford wins, no, but hold on a second. If Matthew Stafford wins the Super Bowl and he wins NFL MVP, and let's say he also, because chances are if he wins the Super Bowl, he's also going to win the Super Bowl MVP. Okay. Does Matthew Stafford have a better case to get into the Hall of Fame than Eli Manning? Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Does Eli Manning? Well, yeah. Listen, it's you have NFL, you have regular season MVP that counts for a lot. You have all pros; those count for a lot. Let's just call a spade here.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So, but does Eli Manning not have a case to make the NFL? I think Eli Manning still has a. I think when Eli Manning retired, at that time, he was top 10 in passing yards, passing touchdowns, games played, very statistically relevant quarterback stats. And I didn't even touch his Super Bowl wins yet or his Super Bowl MVPs. So I think it's unfair because I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, Eli Manning. Nacc, to your point, I think the competition is going to get a lot tougher for Eli Manning because I feel like people look at his record and that's all they really see as a body of work when the guy played 16 years and didn't miss a single game. He won Super Bowls. He also still holds the record for most passing yards in a playoff.
Yeah,
so and there's all these things.
And I hear you. I hear you on that. The only thing I don't agree with is he was top 10 when he finished. Well, I guess the first 10 QBs were top 10 right when they finished, and they're not necessarily Hall of Famers, right?
I mean, we're talking about top 10. Well, the reason why I say that is because, I mean, you have to look at it from that point in time as well. You know what I mean? Like, you can't make an argument on where he was when he retired versus where other people are now that have had different careers, you know, and the NFL changed and all that stuff too, right? Like, it's almost like saying, it's almost like unlegitimizing Terry Bradshaw's
or Troy
Aikman, you know, and that's kind of why I bring it up, because we could talk about how, like, oh, this guy only has a, 53% completion rate, but he's in the Hall of Fame, because those standards nowadays wouldn't work because the NFL is different. And I think it just plays into that sort of argument, that conversation. And I'm going to say it again, and I've always said it before.
I know
Greeny said it perfect. He said that you can't write the story of the NFL without mentioning Eli Manning, and I think that plays a part, because it's can you
did you see it coming?
Can you write the story? Can you write the story of the NFL without Matthew Stafford? No, you cannot. So he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Thank you, mic drop.
Well, perfect timing to get into our picks quickly as we finish up here. Raj, who do you like this weekend? Broncos and Patriots.
I'm gonna go with the Pats. Just the Drake May factor. I think it makes it's too hard to pass up.
Fab.
Drake May is the truth. I'm never going against him ever again after I got ripped apart that one love and hate. Let me tell you, Drake May is the truth. I think the Pats are going to win.
You went against them last week. FYI.
No, I took the Pats.
No, I think you took Houston. I was the only one who took the Pats. I don't think so. We're gonna rewind the tape. We're gonna rewind the tape. I am gonna go with the Denver Broncos at home because I want to witness history. Stidham, first game of the season is the AFC Championship game. That would be something, and I don't want the Patriots in the Super Bowl, so I will pick the Broncos.
I'm gonna put money on a Philly special.
Wow, I doubt it, but that would be very cool. Actually, that would be super cool. And then we have the Rams at the Seahawks. Raj, who do you like?
Seattle. That defense is too good. Witherspoon, Lawrence, Murphy, Leonard Williams, they've been awesome. And I think Kyle Williams and Blake Corum are going to have a very hard time running the ball. And the Seattle offense, I see Sam Darnold doing just enough to get them over the hump. Seattle.
I mean, Roger are in lockstep here. I agree. I think Seattle's defense is going to be a little bit too much for the Rams, unfortunately.
Who did Sam Darnold play in the wild card weekend last year? Just remind me.
Oh yeah.
I think it was the Rams. Yeah, I have the Rams this weekend. Sam Darnold's season was a tremendous one. I think it comes to a halt in the NFC Championship, and there's going to be a Broncos Rams Super Bowl.
Who did he play that Thursday night game? He had did he have 4 touchdowns? I think.
Was it the Rams?
Did they win? Yeah,
regular season. Yeah, I'm not talking about regular season. I'm talking about the playoffs.
No, you're talking about a playoff game with different teams. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about playoff games with 2 different teams. That's what you're talking about.
There's still Sam Darnold.
Yeah. JSN, KW3. It's gonna be a close game.
So much. I think it's gonna be a really good game.
And the 2 best teams in the NFC made it. As much as I love the Bears story, the Rams played mistake-free football. The Seattle played for once mistake-free football because Sam Darnold's been giving the ball up like there's no tomorrow. I think the 2 best teams are clearly in NFC. I don't think I could say necessarily the same thing in Denver just because of in the NFC just because of Stidham. If Knicks was playing, I think I would have gone with Denver.
Same.
Because 100%. All things equal, the defenses are pretty even. Obviously, I'm going to take May over Stidham. So
I think Denver's going to need a defensive touchdown, at least one of them, to be in that game. But we'll see.
Yep.
That'll do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Like always, please make sure to subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. We will see you guys next week. Raj, the music. Another one. Let's go.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Peace out, eh?
Goodbye.
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody.